This is the 2-9 Report.
Welcome back to the 2-9 Report. As you can see, man, it's college day today, man. Your boy Sam Madison.
Arturo Freeman.
Man, what is that you got on over there, man? Let's match it up. What you want to do?
This is University of South Carolina, the real USC. Let's just start there. You know, this is Carolina Pride, 12. You know, go cocky up here. Right. I'm excited about this jersey. I mean, ask me all the questions you want to ask.
So why do you have all of that on today? Like, you know, from week one, we've been talking about South Carolina. They've been doing some really good stuff, but you just took it to another level. And you know I would not let you outdo me.
Right. I'm seeing that.
Yeah,
I came in here today. I saw you with a nice shirt on, your jewelry showing out, then no jersey, and I felt proud because I'm the only guy with a jersey.
I was like, nah, Brandon.
You done ran to the car and got the jersey.
Check. Audible. Audible.
Well, great things happened this past weekend in South Carolina. I can't say it's monumental because that's what we do. So it was just another game for us.
What do y'all do?
We win. All we do is win. Anyway, 7-1, Texas A&M came into town, sitting at number 10. Gamecocks doing what they do, playing consistent football, getting better week by week. Redshirt freshman quarterback getting better. D lineman filled with NFL prospects. Young freshman, SEC, probably going to get the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. And they just had fun. They had fun.
Coming out of South Carolina, you guys get majority of the top recruits, or is it like a fight? You know, when you look down here in Florida, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different schools that a lot of these kids from South Florida or Florida in general could go and attend and then still play at a high level. But South Carolina, Turo, I mean, you grew up there, you stayed home. You know, a lot of, South Carolina football players, they gravitate to in-state. And y'all do have a rival as well, fighting, trying to get those players.
Definitely so. Clemson is our rival.
Yeah.
Not only in football, but in recruiting.
Yeah.
Greenville, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Columbia.
And since you said that, that is why I'm wearing this. Oh, we had to knock them off. We had to.
Absolutely.
I told you we're the comeback kings. And
you guys,
we were down, but, you can never count Jeff Brom out.
I like Louisville. I've always had a little special eye for Louisville, even when back in the day when Coach, I think his name was Petrino was there. Yeah. Even before, after Petrino, was it?
We had a few. We've had a few.
Ward, God, I can't think of his name. Anyway, Louisville's a good program. Always have been a great program. A lot of South Florida kids go there.
That is true.
Going back to what you asked me, our rivalry is Clemson. Guys either go to Clemson or go to South Carolina. Good thing about it, we do get a lot of guys that have, last couple of years, been going to the NFL. Mm-hmm. Even though Clemson's been ranked, they've been the top 10, have won 2 national championships. They get a lot of kids out of North Carolina, Georgia, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, great quarterbacks. So it's always been an in-state rivalry with those guys. So other than that, we have them at the end of the year, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Dabo has done a really good job over the tenure he's been there. He's the longest tenured coach there. He's won a lot of games. He's he has the statistics, right? Mm-hmm. But when you start to look back over the last couple of years after he won the national championship, it starts to go down. NIL, a lot of Florida, Georgia. Alabama, they start to come up, and you don't get all those players. And just like you talk about, Turo, watching you guys over the last few years, y'all are always in games when I'm talking about South Carolina. And then now, Beamer ball. Beamer came in just like his dad. Man, he's going to ground, he's going to pound, he's going to play into the players that he have. And just – I don't know if you guys really saw it or if you understood it was his wife's birthday. And,
I saw that.
And these kids, and that's who you have to play into. And people always talking about Colorado and all the big schools. Deion is doing a really good job out at Colorado and bringing those guys in and bringing outside artists in because that's who those kids are listening to in their headphones.
They're aware of them.
And he's giving it to them. And then Beamer brought his wife in, and then he's like, guys, Y'all been singing this song.
Right. I've been hearing this song
during
every day.
practice,
Right.
hearing it all the time, and then they
was-
play Fantasia, and then he sings it to his wife.
right.
Man,
That
like,
was
man,
awesome.
listen, he's gonna get some extra recruits just off of that,
Just
man, and just
listen.
understanding how you can relate to these players and be as one with them in a pretty good team atmosphere after
Speaking
that
of
football
recruits,
game.
literally after the game, the South Carolina Gamecock Club posted a 4-star committed.
Yeah.
Literally after the game, just off of that hype, that experience. Listen, our fans are second to none. 80,000+ fans. Stadium is growing. They're in plans now to expand the stadium, to add some Letterman lounges and some different things. It's amazing, Sam. It's amazing to see college football at its height. And like you said, Beamer ball, great special teams, run the ball, play into the hands of how his players, whatever they can do, that's what he gonna do. And that's what I like about him, because he's not an offensive guy, he's not a defensive guy, and he's really not really a special teams guy. He is a manager, and a manager of men. So I look forward to the program getting better and better over time.
I want you to hold that thought when you talk about manager of men. Later on in the show, we'll definitely be talking about. But Turo, I did have an opportunity. You know, I went to Florida A&M University. I went to their high school. There's a couple of universities in the state of Florida. For some of you guys don't know, Florida A&M, HBCU. They have a high school. Florida State, which is Florida High, they have a high school. The University of Florida as well, P.K. Young, has a high school as well. But since I left high school 1992, and I played in the same stadium that Florida A&M University played in, man,
wow.
Turo, I was running down, I was running a running play, because I played running back coming out of high school.
Yeah, I
Then
would've
they
smacked
converted me. Yeah, no, you wouldn't have had the opportunity. Turo, too slow. But haven't been back to Florida A&M homecoming. Oh my, Turo.
I already know you had a
It's entirely
ball.
too much.
I'm still mad you ain't seen me no pictures, no video of the Ultimate Fan. The Ultimate Fan running it down in Tallahassee. I already know.
Great time.
I'm sure these pictures will resurface at any given time. Even though you haven't been a social media phenomenon, I know these pictures are coming out somewhere, somehow.
They didn't really surface because I did lose my phone.
I wanna
And
hear
that
the
was
stories.
on the first day, the
wanna hear the
first
stories.
night. So I just went without, because it just started all over the next day. And I got there Wednesday night. So Thursday, Friday,
Man, that's a long time.
Saturday. And then I was like, man, let me hit this road, get back down to South Florida. But, oh, man, unbelievable.
there?
Yes, I drove.
Ooh, that's
I
10 hours,
drove.
right?
Yeah, I mean, but I was going to be there for a few
Did
extra
you
days.
get
know,
to
my
see
family's
mom and
still
dad?
there. Yeah, my family, I spent a day
awesome.
at home and then be able to go back and forth. But just going out there and getting some of that country fresh air. You know that fresh air is in the crickets.
And that
You
fresh
know-
food. And that type of food put you to sleep early.
Yeah, but it was unbelievable. I ran into Edrin James. He was up there. You know, he's a guy, create your own life. You know how you want to live, and he's having
he's definitely that.
fun, man. And then we were able to connect. But really good. But let's set this stage, man. Turo, your South Carolina Gamecocks. Congratulations.
Same to you.
Yeah, Texas A&M, big win. Louisville, as the comeback kings, I call them. But we can't keep doing that coming from behind. But we were able to knock off Clemson.
That's a big win for you guys.
Yeah, very big win for us. And we're just going to continue just try to keep on stacking those. And we now are bowl eligible. I'm pretty sure you guys are as well. Or if not,
One more.
One more? Y'all need one more?
One more.
But I know y'all schedule is going to be pretty
Pretty
tough.
Pretty tough.
from this point on. But
Yes.
in the SEC, it's anything can happen.
Anything can
happen. So we're just going to continue to watch those. But let's look at these other teams: University of Florida, University of Central Florida, USF. FIU, FAU, and we might as well put Florida State in this category too.
You have to.
Like when you look at all of these teams that's in the state of Florida right now, and all of these players that's jockeying, you just talked about some guys starting to, commit to the universities that they're going to continue. And some of these kids are about to get ready to go there in December because they're going to graduate early to go ahead and get into their respective colleges and get into spring so they can have an opportunity to play early and get on the football field to be able to help. Like, who out of those teams, Florida, UFC, USF, like, really have an opportunity to take another step forward? You know, Florida State, man, we putting them on the back burner right now. I mean, everybody's watching their games just because they want to see if they're going to continue to get better or they're going to get worse. They want to see some of their players potentially have opportunity to go on and play in the National Football League. But it's just a lot of good football being played, and these guys are jockeying. Of course, they're behind the University of Miami, but some of these teams are being relevant, and Florida is still doing a really good job as well.
I would say, just for starters, USF.
Yeah.
4-4, had a great year last year. They need this opportunity. October, November, December, January is huge for USF because it's recruiting.
Yeah.
They're not going to get that 5-star, but they can get their share of 4-star guys being in position because of where they're located, being in that North Florida area, that Tampa area, where they got a lot of good talent coming out of there.
It is.
UCF, I would say second, is in prime position because they've been consistent over the last 5 to 10 years, 5 to 8 years, winning football games. I would say maybe about 6, 7 years ago, they were the top dog in Florida, period. So USF at first, I think they have a good opportunity right now to jump out there because they've been kind of quiet and they need its time. I would say UCF is always, they're going to get their guys because they recruit very well.
Yes.
They don't mind getting to 3 stars. They don't mind getting to 2 stars, and they coach well. They develop well. The system and the culture is there, even with different coaches that have come through there thus far. Third would probably be University of Florida.
Okay.
They need to win.
And we already talked about their schedule. Their schedule is really, really tough, and it started this weekend. The University of Georgia.
It's tough.
And playing up in Jacksonville, they already knew that was going to be one of those knockdown dragouts. And early on in the game, it was pretty even. And then all of a sudden, you see the strength, the power, the execution, the limited mental mistakes. And Georgia takes over that game.
Right.
And it spews over to the stands. Did you see what was going on in the stands? Like, that was unbelievable.
That was crazy.
I've been to a couple of games, Daryl, and it happens all the time. This is a big rivalry game. This is not only in the SEC, this is 2 states, Georgia, Florida.
Even from high school, Florida-Georgia game.
Florida-Georgia game.
Yes.
It's always been a really big rival, but just to see the fights and, it was a whole lot.
I saw it on Instagram. I was floored.
Yeah.
I was really floored. I'm like, this is nuts. Like, I understand the Raiders. Mm-hmm. I understand NFL. I understand being drunk, but college is to another level now. It's so competitive, and it's tough.
But here's the other part, right? And I talked to you have to understand, majority of college stadiums are on campus.
Yeah,
they're on campus,
yes.
Right? And beer and wine, that's all they can really sell.
Right.
When you have the Florida-Georgia game, it's not held on either one of these campuses because they want it to be a neutral site. So
you get mixed drinks.
And it's you get mixed drinks. It's in an NFL stadium. It's in the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium. So it's packed from the top to the bottom, and you're able to drink, more heavier beverages, and it just spewed over. It just was really shocking.
Right.
Not shocking. We should expect that, but the fans should kind of control that as well, and not because now you're having the younger kids, they're seeing this, and then it's just going to continue to sting.
I think, like you said, the what happened on the field, the momentum went into that energy, as people say, went into the stands. The fans acted out on what was happening on the field. Yeah. When the shift of the game, because Florida was doing their thing early on in the game, when that shift happened, and Georgia being the team that they are, capitalizing at any given moment, that's just what they do.
Yeah.
They're prone for that.
And trash talking is part of the game, no matter if you're on the field, if you're before the game, during the game, after the game. But, for you guys to be up there having a battle royale, that's just unheard of. And we just have to try to, be better when we're in those stadiums. But to be expected. That's what you're going to get when you have, big games like that and guys really trying to solidify them position in this playoff run. So just continue to go that. But you got to tip your hat off, man. University of Miami, 9-0.
The culture's real.
Culture is culture.
The culture is real.
And listen, Lamar Thomas, he's taking it. I know you guys see, Michael Irvin on the sideline.
It's the culture.
Lamar
is real.
Thomas is way worse than Michael Irvin. Like, I was even with him last night from head to toe.
Oh yeah.
University of Miami. Like, where have this been? In Turo, like I tell people all the time, I'm orange and green till the day that I died. Till and orange, Florida A&M, and I've always been from North Florida, been a UM fan. So I'm really happy to see them in this because can you imagine the Dolphins losing and UM coming into the beginning of this season where we had a whole lot of expectation. Right. UM is holding it there, and they are really holding the Dolphins down right now, and especially when you talk about football down here in South Florida.
Just like you said a few episodes ago, you said about understanding losing the fans. If UM was losing, then now everybody's expectation, their mindset, because there's so much to do in South Florida. Now they'll be talking about the Heat.
Correct.
They'll be talking about the hockey team. So glad that UM is still doing what they're doing and winning at a high level. And it's not just winning, Sam. They're not just winning. They're playing some good ball. They're exciting. Their kids look like they're having fun. You got Jason still out there running every time they make a first down. I'm like, I'm seeing Jason running. I'm like, what, boy?
He's running up and down the sideline.
Up and down the sideline. He's having a blast.
I love it, man.
Heisman candidate Cam Ward is playing lights out football. The U is back.
Yeah.
The U is back. Listen, they're still, the playoff is a totally different beast, and it's 12 teams, so they will get in there. But I think we still have some better football left for the University of Miami.
Oh yeah, it's still some good to come out of this, and I can't wait. As they get a little bit closer, games are going to. But they have a game coming up against Georgia Tech, and I was telling people, I was like, man, that is a game that they're gonna have to be really, really sharp in because that wing tee, whatever they be running, man, we saw it in week 1. When Florida State had to go up against those guys, and it wasn't a very good, easy task for them. We saw what they did, but it's never easy. And we talk about Army, the way that they run that system. It could be potentially dangerous for the University of Miami. They have to be on their P's and Q's.
Smart football, detailed football, culture football, doing the little things, being detailed in every situation. But like you alluded to, it's going to be very tough for them if they don't do assignment football, understanding what's in front of them, not trying to make big plays, just play good UM football, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine, and UM fans and myself as well, we need to thank University of Louisville because we were able to knock Clemson off, and now, you look at the University of Miami sitting at number 4. Just look at this top 25, man. You have Oregon at number 1, one undefeated team. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 undefeated teams in the top 25. That is Oregon at number 1, University of Miami at number 4, Indiana, Adewale Ogunyele.
Another South Florida safety that's there from University School. We coached him from there, and he's having a heck of a year. I think it's his 5th or 6th year guy now at Indiana. But you got some South Florida kids that are there too as well. Great program, catching everybody off guard, but they're playing good football, and the kids are excited. That's all it takes, Sam. When you start looking at these teams, go back to the history of the recruiting, and you say, okay, that 2019, that 2022 class was really, really good, and they finally popped. That's what happens. Like South Carolina, that the last group of seniors that are seniors now, that group of guys with 4-star, 5-star kids that came from the previous head coach, are now paying dividends.
BYU at number 9, 8-0, and Army at 18 at 8-0. When you look at these teams, and you don't really know how it's going to fare because a lot of these teams eventually going to have to play one another a little bit later on down the field, and you're going to have some teams that's eventually going to get into the playoff system that have maybe 1-2 losses on their record, and Alabama is still sitting right there at number 11 that's in that situation, but it's still a really good football team. This top 25 is just Boise State is in there. SMU at 8-1. Anything can happen in college football, and I just really like how this.
It's probably the best year of things happening football-wise in college football. Did Colorado jump into 25? Are they 21 yet?
They're 21 right now. Colorado's 21 at 6-2.
Listen, Prime may get Coach of the Year.
Think so?
You know how they do it these years about the voting system, how they're looking at the previous year, taking a ball club from here to there. He's done a good job. Mario Cristobal would probably be in that category.
Correct.
Dion, Mario, you got some guys that's going to be in that hunt for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, man. And, just how this thing's going to, pan out, you never really know. You just have to be and just sit there and get your popcorn, kick your feet up.
It's going to be fun.
Enjoy it. Now we're getting ready to get into November. Once you get around Thanksgiving time, everybody's sitting around the fireplace eating sweet potato pie, and I'm definitely going to eat a whole lot of sweet potato pie. But football is starting to kick off, and it's going to be one of those situations where, you never know what's going to happen. But I'm glad the University of Miami is in it. I don't care, even if it was Florida State, University of Florida, having Florida football teams in it always give us, the upper hand because we have the speed, we have talent, we have guys all across the country to be able to go out and showcase their talents. But, solidify South Florida as one of the top hotbeds when you talk about talents across the nation. And, we can pretty much go to any team, I guarantee you, on this top 25, and you're going to get some guys that could potentially be right from here in South Florida.
I think other programs in South Florida benefit from, and I would say this, I think South Florida in general, because it has more college programs in the state of Florida, every school benefits from one or two teams being in that top 25 or in the playoffs because UM can't take everybody.
Correct.
So when you're in University of Miami, you're now, if you're a top 5 program, you're recruiting across the country, not just localized anymore.
Correct.
Right? So you may have a quarterback that you like at Northwestern, but the number one and number 2 pocket passer comes available and he wants to go to UM, you're probably going to take this guy because you've been coveting this guy for the last 3 years. So the next school, Florida State, falls in line and benefits because we know now UM can't take every kid. They only can get 25 guys, and they can't take them all.
Yeah.
They can't take them all, especially locally. And if I'm a program at FIU or FAU that I have to spin off the kids, and I have to, my slogan and how I recruit is telling kids, UM didn't want you. So that you could come over here and fight like I don't know what.
And we're going to put them on the schedule so you can play against them.
Yes.
We're going to put them on the schedule so you can play against them.
South Florida benefits for University of Miami or University of Florida or any South Florida team winning or having a winning season no matter where they are. And I think that's how UCF built.
I like UCF, man. Like they just one of those.
They play football.
Yeah.
They play good football. I mean, before you would never think, we coaching in high school, you look down on up North Florida. You said Orlando.
Yeah.
You don't know if they play football. You don't know if they play basketball. You don't know if they play soccer. You just say Disney World. That's pretty much it. Disney World. That's it. Let's go up there for a camp. Let's go up there for Disney World. Let's go up there for a convention.
Yeah.
Or something. So that's how you look at the Orlando teams up there.
Yeah, but I really like it, Arturo, having all of these schools. But one of the things, me, being from North Florida, right? I wanted to go to the University of Miami. I was the biggest player in the world. I wasn't highly recruited. I only had one scholarship offer, and that was at the University of Louisville. But my mentality was to go to Louisville because Howard Snellenberger coached down here at the University of Miami, and the mentality that he had, he took it to the University. We played anybody, anytime. When I went there, we were independent. I beat Texas, University of Texas. I beat the University of Texas A&M. We played the University of Florida. We were ranked pretty high. Took them down to the wire with Jeff Brom as the quarterback. We played Ohio State. We beat Alabama. And for him having that mindset and what you talked about, UM can't take all those players. Louisville for a minute was the UM slash
They were.
Louisville team because over half
were.
of our team was from the state of Florida. He's going to get all of the best kids from Louisville and implement them in the system, but he's coming to get his speed and his quickness and his power. He was coming down here to the University of Miami, and I just remember for a number of years playing here at the Dolphins and driving down 95, and right where you get to the big curve, right before you get to downtown, it was a big billboard. And it was there for like 3 or 4 years. You know what that
Louisville?
billboard said? Come to the University of Rutgers.
Greg Schiano.
You remember that?
There's a billboard still there. There's a billboard with Prime down on 95 with Colorado. There's a billboard with Rutgers. Greg Schiano does a good job of recruiting. Those guys that were at the U back in the day, they do a really
They knew
good
it.
job. Charlie Strong, his name popped back in my head. Charlie
Strong.
Strong did an amazing job because he went and got a quarterback that just got honored 2 weeks ago,
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yep.
So Teddy was this guy, and I remember Coach Strong coached me in my senior year at University of South Carolina. He was under Lou Holtz, and he was big on. He didn't have to go nowhere. He said, "I want to get every kid out of South Florida,
Correct.
to go to Louisville," and he won. He should have stayed there.
He should have stayed.
He should have stayed there. He should have just stayed there. He would have been there forever, retired. He probably would have got a national championship.
Arturo.
I get it, but Charlie had to go get that money.
The big bucks call.
Yeah, you gotta
And when
go.
you talking about the University of Texas?
They're going to pay you.
They're going to pay him. And then at the time, University of Louisville, they still was building the program. Lamar Thomas was up there. Terrell Buckley was coaching as well up there. Lamar Thomas is the one that got Lamar Jackson to sign at the University of Louisville. So when Lamar goes back, he went up there to attend to the UM Louisville game. Guess what? They welcomed him with open arms because of how and what he did. He brought a Heisman a Heisman Trophy winner to the University of Louisville. And the reason why we were able to get him, and I was there when he was being recruited because it was for a spring game. And I met his mom, I met him, I talked to him, but I had no idea who Lamar Jackson was at the time. But
Right.
it didn't take very long for us to understand exactly who he was, and we definitely know that he's a household name in the National Football League now. But really good programs, and like you talk about, guys come down here all the time, all the way to the West Coast, all the way in Hawaii. Sure, I've had guys that played on South Florida Express, 3 players go to the University of Hawaii and graduate from out there. That's just how, the magnitude and the talent that we have down here in South Florida, and it's amazing. I think we're going to continue, to doing it and getting better because when you look at the NIL deals and all of those different things now, and you look at how guys are moving, and you look at this top 25, there are some teams in here that, like you talked about, Arturo, with SMU, Indiana, Tennessee, Penn State, like they keep their players. You don't see guys really leaving after 3 years or transferring here because of the atmosphere that they have at those schools. When you go to Notre Dame, you're going to Notre Dame to get the education.
Right.
They're
still preaching that.
Yeah, they're still preaching it. And, those players, they're from those areas. And guess what? They want to be there.
Right. Penn State, Notre Dame, University of Michigan. Growing up, you heard about those schools because of their track record, because those were Ohio State, because those were the national television games. Those are, as we say, the blue collar. Those are individuals that go to school there. They become CEOs, become CFOs, they become big-time business owners. They often have a track record of also working in the NFL. You believe it or not. So these kids are being taught that. The area that they're coming from, they know if I put the work in, worst case scenario, I got Ohio State.
Right.
Worst case scenario, I got Michigan because I'm in this area. And in understanding that, they play hard for that, and they're not gonna waver. They'll wait 5 years to play their last 5th year,
Correct.
just to get a couple snaps and get an opportunity, and they're good with it.
And that's how University of Miami used to be back in the day, where they'll sit there and like, man, all of that stable of running backs, guess what? I'm just going to sit and wait.
Right.
I'm just going to sit and wait. I'm going to play special team. I'm going to knock your head off, man. But I'm going to practice hard because I'm going to be practicing against first round draft picks, and it's only going to get me better. And the scouts are coming down there and going to see me, and I'm still going to have that opportunity. But Oregon, they're Nike schools, so they're going to get the players that they want, the jerseys, the shoes, the cleats, the facilities. They were one of the first ones to really, transform, facilities and be able to create these images for these kids when they're coming in.
Right.
We can't slip on SMU. SMU in Texas is one of the richest schools in Texas.
A lot of money.
This past year, when you look at the quarterback coming out of Texas, the number 1 quarterback in the country, he stayed in the state, and he went to SMU. Texas was trying to get him. Texas A&M was trying to get him. I looked last year and just watching the recruiting, man, they had Lamborghinis lined up for each and every last one of these kids. Like the demographics, man.
And don't leave out, if you check their roster, they're about 14 to 20% South Florida kids.
South Florida kids on that roster as well.
The OC that was at University of Miami, I think he was the OC there, is now the OC at SMU. The starting running back is from University of Miami. D lineman from University of Miami. Wide receivers, University of Miami. Defensive backs, University of Miami.
Putting Florida and Texas players together. And you got a recipe for opportunity to win some football games, and they're doing
like it. I like that program.
And they beat us very handsomely, the University of Louisville. And they came to our stadium and did it. Like I spoke about it before, Darnell Bennett, his son plays at the University of Rice early on in the season, and he's sitting here like, Sam, how do we lose Rice? Like, man, do you know that they're finally getting players off the death penalty, for the number of years with Eric Dickerson?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like 4, 5, 6 years ago, they're right back into the hunt, and they're a really good football team, man. So really just anything's going to happen in this college football landscape, but, we're here in South Florida, and when you talk about South Florida, you have to talk about high school sports. Turo, one of the biggest teams here in South Florida, won a lot of national championships, and it's just not here in South Florida. It's all over the state. It's all over the country, all of these different things. When we go and we talk about Central, Miami Central, one player can destroy a program, can destroy a team, can destroy an opportunity for you to go on to win state championship. They had an illegal player. Like, how is that possible, Terrell? If you coach high school and I coach high school, and there's a couple of teams that's down here in South Florida that has put themselves in those situations to where, where they were almost in a lock to win a state championship, they have to forfeit some games, and it's going to push them out.
That doesn't happen, Sam. I would say 15, 20 years ago, maybe. Not in the area that we live in, where the school boards have been doing a great job of getting kids to college. Mm-hmm. Also, it means such a good job that you've seen a decline of junior colleges, because kids are not going to junior college. They're going straight to college.
Yes.
Or they're going into community school, then they're going straight to college. But the high schools are doing a good job. So for that to happen, it's unfortunate for the individual, for the young kid, for one, and for the program, because that's a great program in South Florida. So for that to happen, they had to know. They had to know. Some way, somehow, or something. They had. Well, not. Let me change. They had to know. Someone told them, they were misinformed, because that's the only way it can happen. If a kid, I'm not sure if he transferred 17 times, that happens, but the school had to be misinformed, because I don't think the caliber of that program would try to just to win football games, because that's what they do anyway, to hide somebody. So somebody had to be misinformed.
Let me give you a scenario, right? So we're down here in South Florida, and we have a smorgasbord of different type of ethnicities down here. Right. Guys coming from Bahamas, guys coming from Haiti, guys coming from Jamaica,
right.
Dominican Republic. And when mom and dad, come from whatever country they're bringing documents.
Yeah,
Those
right.
documents could be destroyed in the transport.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, here's this document, and that 4 should have been a 9 or something, but it's like, you know what? Maybe I can't get away with
And the
you know,
language barrier, they put them back. They put them back a year because of that.
Correct.
A lot of parents do that when they come from different countries. We're sitting on an island, and like you said, there's a lot of countries that base around this island of South Florida. So when they do come here, they do sit back. They come in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and they put it back. Then 3 years later, when they're in 10th grade, their records finally appear.
Yeah.
And now it's not the kid's fault.
No. But here's the other thing, right? A lot of these kids play youth football, right? So you have to bring those birth certificates, you have to bring all the documentations, and a coach that was possibly on a team knew of a situation about this specific player. Guess what? He wanted that player to come to his school. Okay? He doesn't go to that school with that coach. All of a sudden, that coach knows everything about that kid. And then he's just going to let it play out. Oh, yeah, I think he should go over to that school. Goes over to that school, plays week 1, plays week 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like, hey, now we have opportunity to play them coming up. Hey, Mr. Official over at
Blow the
Florida High
whistle.
School. Hey, can you check this player for me? Because I think it's an illegal player. Boom, all of a sudden, getting ready to come up to that game where you're about to get ready to play me Arturo. That player is not there. You're going to lose those games, and now you're thinking about some stuff and not thinking about football, and it's hurt your football program.
So unfortunate for that to happen. That's going to be talked about for a good while in South Florida because it's a no deal. You know, it's a no deal.
If it's a no deal, Turo, but yet and still, how much does that player impact or change the dynamics of your football team? If you're talking about that is a Ray Lewis type of player on the offensive side or the defensive side, I'm still going to hedge my bet to, hey, I think we still can win these games and
Without
still
him.
have without him. Why even put yourself in that situation?
That's why I have to say, Sam, it had to be a misinformed situation.
Yep.
Had to be a misinformed situation because I can't see none of those powerhouses being okay with jeopardizing a season for one player.
Yep.
And I've been around those programs, and they preach. If anything, the schools in South Miami, I would say, the public schools, they preach alumni. They preach
Right.
organization. They preach family. They preach my dad went here, my brother went here. They preach that. So it's all about camaraderie and unity. So I got to really get the information and get more facts
Yeah.
and really dig into that situation. Just an unfortunate situation all the
But
way
just
around.
being able to let people inform people that it really happens and it's real, and you know it can really destroy your football team and it can destroy your season. And for hopes of players going on to continue their education, now they're sitting there with the back of their mind like, what do we do now? You
Right.
still have to finish because a
gotta
lot of
finish.
these guys still trying to get these scholarships, younger guys trying to be recruited and all of those different things. Just looking at schedules, and even with Brandon Graham here, who coaches and does a really good job with his school, a lot of the teams that goes deeper into the program, go deeper into playoff contention, they start to, I'm just going to go straight through my schedule.
Right.
I'm just going to deal with whatever happens. I'll deal with it. And then at the end, I'll take this bye. Like right now, you know, having buys at the end of your season, you know, you were entrenched in youth school for a number of years. Having that opportunity to put that bye at the end of the year, is that something that you feel is better for teams? Or I just know when I played at the Giants and we got on a roll, I didn't want to buy.
Yeah, you want to play.
I just wanted, you know, everybody to be the same. And then we lost to Dallas early in the week, in the year, week 2, and then we played them again. They beat us, and then we come up to the third time where they were the number 1 seed sitting out resting, and we knock them off.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I like going right, have my bye in the middle early, may have some injuries here or there, let those guys get healthy, and then jump back into it. But a lot of these teams are putting their bye at the end of the year.
I've seen it from two sides of the fence. Actually, as a coach, having a bye where you get a split down the middle with your kids because you're still dealing with high school students.
Correct.
In the NFL or college, you're talking about injuries. You're talking about getting some kids back, getting guys healthy. But what still has remained the same is the way you practice.
Yep.
In high school, what happens then during that time, if you're not understanding, during that time is tests. There are assignments that have to be caught up. So now those guys are not practicing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the devil's advocate of it. So when you do play after that bye, anything can happen. So I'm with you. Sometimes I like to keep going. I love momentum. I understand the fact that it's important for the kids to not keep them sidetracked, no distractions.
Right.
And we've had to have buys, and we've played well. But if we could probably have done it again, we probably wanted to just keep going.
Yep.
So that we could just run the table.
Yeah, I prefer that. And just, but if it happens, it happens. You just got to have a really disciplined football team, give them the things that they need, and put what's in front of them. Guys, listen, we can't have the extracurricular things going off the field. I know we're getting out of practice early. It's getting darker early. But, hey, man, we're here for a reason, and we're have something on our mind and our heart, and that's trying to get a ring on this finger. But looking forward to a lot of good football coming up over the next couple of weeks. We do have a makeup game for Hurricane, so it is some of these guys going to have 2 weeks to roll.
Right. So
as
now
well.
that bye will come in perfect.
Yeah,
Because
now
they're going
it
to
comes
play
by.
a Monday and a Thursday.
Yeah.
Or a Friday and a Tuesday. Something crazy in high school.
Yeah. So, man, we got to jump into it. Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills. Hey, man, that is another one. Once again, that's 3 weeks in a row where we've had opportunity coming down to the end, and we let football games slip away. Like, that's just – you can't do it, bro. Finish football games.
You can't.
That's something where we preach in Park Warner. We preach it in middle school, high school, college. How do you just let those games get away from you toward the end of the game? And you talked about it. You said, coaches. I said players. Now it's everybody. You got to put everybody. Everybody's at fault.
Let's think about when we played. We not only scripted plays that could be or would be or what if, but we channeled our mindset of this is how we finish. We put ourselves in situations in practice, and to me, practice was harder than playing in the game. So understanding is our team, the Dolphins, not practicing to win? Are they that banged up that they're not getting the quality of reps? Because it's like you said before, you got to train kids' mindset, and you have to practice. You have to finish everything. So maybe that's what's missing. I don't know, but I know when we lost games, we could come back on that Monday. Even Sunday night when we talk to each other, or we out, and you can say, "Hey, Terrell, man, remember I told you," and I could just know right then and there. I could play it back in my head, understanding what I did wrong, why, and I had an answer, but understanding the fact that I would submit to the fact that, oh, you know what, I didn't play that coverage right.
But the same mistakes over and over is one of the things that drive me up the wall, and those are the things, Terrell, that you're talking about when we played, and, having Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Tim Boynes, all of those guys in place, fixing things, right? But those are players that I just named that were in
Hall of
the
Fame.
building for multiple years,
Right.
5, 6, 7, that you can bounce things off, have seen a lot of things, and the younger players could go and lean on. Like, Ramsey. We need to lean on Ramsey, but this is only Ramsey's second year, and we've seen the seesaw with him. Tua. He's the leader. He's the veteran of this football team right now. So you have to lean on him. But how many football games positive on a consistent basis where guys like, oh, I need to go. Calais Campbell, just coming in, older player.
Right.
All of these guys, who are those guys in the locker room that have a voice to be able to pinpoint, put a finger on, be able to touch a guy? Sure, because I didn't have a problem saying anything to anybody, whether they was on offense, defense, or special team, holding those guys accountable, because for me, I was going to hold myself accountable to be available every practice, every game, and to push the envelope with a guy that's 6'7", 300 pounds, or a guy 5'9", 172 pounds. I was going to push that envelope because that is what we set and how our standards were as a team.
Right. So let's go back, because the standards that I was used to being a Miami Dolphin, coming in as a rookie, first of all, I knew that the standard was we're going to win every home game.
Yes.
And it wasn't because, we want to win because we want to win. It was the reason, because it was a math behind it. It was a science behind it. It was, hey, guys, we got to win 90 to 100% of our home games, because that gives you 8 wins. Mm-hmm. So understanding that, if you're able to beat that team at home, and if we catch them early, we can beat them there. So understanding that math puts us in 9 to 10 wins easier to have a winning season. So that's one. Want to have a winning season. And like you said, we had Zach Thomas, we had you, we had Jason Taylor, guys that were there. But think about it like this: you guys had to step to the plate really fast after your second, third year. So that you got Waddle, and those guys are past 2 to 3 years now. Tua's been there more than 2 to 3 years. So there are the guys. Yeah. They have to step up. I remember playing against the New York Jets, and we were going to play the Jets in New York, and Curtis Martin was the running back. And they would run I think the play is like the angle play, the back out the backfield, where Curtis Martin would go hard as I don't know what here and come back inside. Correct. You know how many times Zach Thomas came to me and said, hey, let's watch it together. Hey, True, this is your play. This is I'm at dime. I'm the Mike linebacker in there. This is your play. I'm telling you, they're going to do this. No, hands down, they're going to be in bunch, and they're going to do it. And I ran that play over and over it now, mentally and in practice, over and over again, because I held myself accountable to make that play. And when we came in the game, they ran that play, and I knocked that ball down, Sam.
You better. All that time y'all spending, we talked about it.
Right.
Man, you got to make that play
But I don't
happen.
think those kids are doing that.
Well, Arturo, let's go back and let's just look. Remember, you had the big PS2 PlayStation.
Right.
And then they went to the little small PlayStation where you could, take it on the road, and we were always together. So you already know that we were going to be in the room playing video games. Somebody going to say, I got next. Right. And then Stu going to come and knock on the door. It's going to be 11 o'clock. Now it's time for us to go to bed. And we're going to go to bed because there was really no cell phone for me to sit here and just stroll on a consistent basis and worry about this, Instagram.
No distractions.
All of those, really no distraction. So, Arturo, before I went to sleep, and somebody said, learn it by osmosis. Right. I'm going to go when Stu hit that door, and I'm going to go, okay, and I'm going to go over this tip sheet. Right. And then, I'll put it up under my pillow and please just let me remember this. Right. But when we get in games, people always be mad because I'm screaming out your play and telling my teammate what's about to happen. Man, I've ingrained those plays, those tips in my head because, I didn't have any distractions once I went to bed or once they had bed check. It's just a lot of distractions to me that are really taking our players, not only our players, this is all around the National Football League.
This is all around. I mean, I think that's why the parity is, because Kansas City is the standard now. They know how to win. They believe they're going to win. New players, guys are hurt, and the guys that are hurt were the guys that were the second to third guys that they brought in that they drafted in the first round that were to replace the guys that they had before. Now those guys are hurt and they're still winning. So distractions are a big thing. If you don't have the love of the game and you have distractions are going to win.
Well, I think one of the things for me is coming out of the third quarter for the Miami Dolphins. Arturo, they only have 26 points coming in the third quarter, coming out of the half. Last one you supposed to
You got to win the third quarter.
you got to win the third quarter. We only have 26 points.
Once again, it's a system, Sam. When I got to the Miami Dolphins, when I got embedded into that defense and I fought for my position, you got to win these 8 games at home. We got to have a certain amount of turnovers. We got to keep them under 17. You're regurgitating it. The kind of conversation you and I are having is that's the standard. So I know I got to do my part. If I'm playing quarters, I know I got to read my 2 to 1. If two out, I'm robbing 1. I know what I have every single down. So understanding what the standard is, understanding my responsible and what I'm held to, I just think that it's got to be some gut check. We can't give these guys excuses saying, okay, who's going to be the leader? Yo, the big 3 got to be the leader first, and then whoever's on defense. That we can't wait. We can't wait 2-3 years because what's going to happen? We're going to be at square one again because you know how this league is, Sam. When you start losing, now everybody is saying, the guys in the office are saying, hey, I got to draft somebody.
Yep.
I got to go start all over again. Now that coach is saying, well, maybe draft another quarterback because I got to get my job now.
Yeah. I just think that this football team is it's too shifted. You have a lot of older players and then you have a lot of younger players. And you don't have that Patriots mentality where it's really balanced and these guys are able to mix. Is one or the other. And for me, looking at the offensive side of the ball, looking at the head coach, looking at who you put around, you have to bounce things off of one another, right? Mm-hmm. And I look at the Miami Dolphins. They have 3 offensive coordinators on their staff. You have Mike McDaniels. Mm-hmm. You have Frank Smith. Mm-hmm. You have Darrell Bevell. Bevell has won multiple NFC championships. He's won a Super Bowl out in Seattle. You have too much knowledge over there. Frank is he coached tight ends. He also was the offensive run game coordinator, but yet and still he was an offensive line coach. That is, Arturo, when coaching, solidifying those 5 guys up front, you know what they can do, what they can't do,
right.
And being able to call plays and script things for that team to be able to move with what you have. You have 3 guys. They have to be able to bounce things off. And one of the questions that was brought up probably about a couple of weeks ago, hey, are you going to relinquish any of your – no, I'm not relinquishing any of those things, and it's my way or it's my way.
As they say, sometimes you get in your head and you end up coaching or end up playing the game like you're playing a video game, and that's not the case. This is a real football game.
Real football.
And I think what we had a conversation, I think when we were training, we had a conversation concerning when Green Bay Packers lost their quarterback for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. That young kid, I can't think of his name right off the top of my head.
Plug and play.
From Liberty, right?
Plug and play.
The coach, the offensive coordinator, head coach said that he went back and watched his college games.
What does he do good?
What does he do good, Sam?
What does he do good?
And I think you have to, this is where the coaches earn their big bucks.
Yep.
We see that the offense that the Miami Dolphins have is the Tua offense. There's no other offense in the NFL that Tua can play in. I'm just being honest with you. If you really understand the game of football and you watch the dynamics, how he's playing, this offense does fit him. The scary part of it is when Tua is hurt, we don't exist anymore. So do you give 100% of the offense to match Tua, or do you give 75% to whereas then if something happens, that guy who comes off the bench can still take this team and allow these guys to carry on?
Well, Miami Dolphins, they're in a slide, and we got to find a way to be able to get out of that slide. And they're going to have an extra day this week because they have a Monday night game versus the LA Rams, who are 4-4 right now, and we're going to be out in SoFi at that beautiful stadium. Had an opportunity to be in that stadium, and they've done a really good job with that. Started off kind of pretty much just like the Finns, right? Their season had 5 games, just like us. Little ups and downs, banged up. Had their bye, and then 3 games. But guess what? In their 3 games, they're 3-0.
They're finishing.
Coming out of the bye,
They're finishing.
For us, we're 0-3. And even last week, they went in and won versus Seattle in overtime. This is not going to be an easy game. Guys, they know each other very well.
Right.
But this matchup Monday night, great opportunity for us to get back on a winning track, but yet and still traveling. Turo, we talk about winning 50-50 when you're going on the road. This is one of those games that we really have to have on the road and bring a W back to Miami.
It's definitely a must-win in every category, not just the end of the game scoreboard, but the defense needs to play well.
Mm-hmm.
The offense needs to finally play at the level that we know they're capable of playing. You know what? Tyreek Hill has to have a big game. I want to see those bombs over Baghdad or those hitches taken to the house. We got to put him in a position to play. Waddle on the crosses in space. Let's go back to who we are, what has gotten us there, and be okay with what we do. Everybody in the NFL understands the fact that after week 3, week 4, you're not changing anything. Sam, you're not changing anything. I mean, everybody knows this. Like, what we're going to run. We're going to get the ball to Tyreek. Just stop it. So at the end of the day, we don't have to go all the gimmick and the movements and all the things that we do, because if you have not noticed, they're not moving.
No.
If you have not noticed, they're putting you with 3 safeties. Teams are playing us with 3 safeties. After we lost the first game against Buffalo,
right,
everybody that we have played moving forward has played us with 3 safeties. So, maybe I need to be a coach again, but I'm saying.
Man, get the ball out of your hands. Get the ball to your playmakers.
I
mean, I'm watching games of other teams. They're just throwing little now passes out
right
there.
Now.
Getting up
outside run.
I'm not trying to have Tyreek get tired running east and west. I need him to be going north and south. But, they have some really good guys. They got guys coming back, getting healthy. You look at when you look at, what's his name, Puka? The wide receiver. He didn't play last week. He had a knee, but he may be coming back this week. They have really good tight ends. The running game is very, very successful. But, before we start to wrap it up, man, 099 class for this week, fair catch rule, Turo.
Okay.
Bears versus Cardinals, 4th quarter. After a safety, Bears, Caleb Williams, he got sacked, safety. Okay, so what happens is now Cardinals get the 2 points, and then they get the ball back.
Right.
So the rule is, okay, instead of normally after scoring, you would kick the ball off if it was a touchdown or if it was a field goal. But after a safety, the team that got the safety, they get the ball back as well. But the kicker does not kick it from the ground. He has to punt it.
Right.
So here's the scenario. Boom, everybody, the kicking team is at the 20, the guys are at the 19, the receiving team, the punter, Turo, he punched the ball. It's sky high, trying to eventually think that the opposing team that's receiving the ball is not going to catch it. He punched the ball sky high, Turo, 16 yards. But as soon as he punts it, guess what the Cardinals do? All 10, 11 of the guys, they start the fair catch.
Oh, wow.
Everybody fair catch, so nobody that's receiving the ball can be touched.
Nobody can be touched.
Nobody can be touched.
Listen,
and Turo, it was classic. Then they come up, they receive the ball, and they receive it on the Bears going in. Like,
wow.
Bro, now everybody's calling. That rules have to be changed.
Right.
No, that is being prepared,
Yeah.
understanding,
Coaching.
knowing exactly
Coaching.
what's about to happen, but the players absorbing the information. If the ball is kicked far, guys, hey, just block your guy, we'll get positive yard. But if he kicks it short, everybody, fair catch, and we'll get the ball right there wherever it lands. Unbelievable.
Love it.
That was really, really good, and I loved it, man, being able to see that. So getting ready to wrap this thing up. Churro, what is your takeaways coming out of this game with the Miami Dolphins going over to SoFi playing the LA Rams?
3 takeaways that I've seen based off of last Sunday's game. A, we got to play team defense, really good defense, cause turnovers. We have to finish on offense. We have to finish. Okay. As an organization, we have to finish in everything we do. We have to finish. And third, the will to win. I want to see guys have more will, more will to win. And I think that probably goes into finishing. But if you're a football player and you understand, or you're a coach, you understand what I mean when a will to win.
Well, Churro, my 3 is Stafford has thrown an interception in the last 3 games. He has 6 for the year. Jalen Ramsey, he finally got an interception this past weekend and ripped it out. We have to continue to put pressure on Matthew Stafford. My second one is we have to protect the middle of our defense. Kylan Williams, the running back, he's been very, very good running the ball successfully up the middle. Notre Dame running back who is a north-south type of guy. And he's going to try to get positive yards on a consistent basis. Both teams will go for it on 4th down. Right now, the Dolphins are 7-13 for 4th downs. Well, no, that is the Rams are 7 of 13, and the Dolphins are 3 of 16. We must get out the field on 4th down because the LA Rams, they're going to go for it.
Right.
And we have to make them pay for it. And that is our keys to the game. So thank everybody. Turo, you got any shout-outs?
As usual, this beautiful staff here at Beacon Sports, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, man. So thank you to Brandon, Chuck, Ray, Christine, JJ, Mark. We got Robert, Jeff, Alex, Dean, Lucio, Allison, young Evan even in the building today, man. So, man, thank all you guys, man, for making this show happen. And this is 2-9 Report. I'm Sam Madison.
I'm Arturo Freeman.
And, man, we'll catch you on the next one.